Imagine, right now, just looking at whatever is stressing you out the most today. Maybe it's like a looming deadline at work or, a house that just feels constantly messy.
Yeah, or even a really difficult conversation you've been avoiding.
Exactly. And you feel the weight of it, right? It feels heavy and, well, immediate.
Oh, definitely.
But now I want you to take that exact same stressor and look at it through the lens of a 100,000-year lifespan. Suddenly, that huge, overwhelming problem just, it shrinks down to a microscopic speck of dust.
It really does. It creates a profound shift in perspective.
Yeah.
Moving from that immediate reactive day-to-day grind into a framework of almost incomprehensible cosmic scale, well, it forces a complete reevaluation of our priorities.
Absolutely. It completely changes the scale of human anxiety.
Right, because when you stretch the timeline of your existence out that far, the things that keep us awake at night start to look incredibly trivial.
Which is exactly what we are exploring in today's deep dive. We're looking at a fascinating essay from 2007, written by Shufeng and translated by Konglong, titled Life Should Be Spent Like This.
It's such a unique text.
It is. And the entire mission of this deep dive is to unpack the roadmap this text lays out for human existence and, to discover how adopting this incredibly unique philosophical framework could radically shift how you live your life today, like right in this very moment.
And to understand that roadmap, we really have to start with a fundamental distinction the author makes in the very first sentence.
Okay, let's unpack this.
So the text draws a hard line between what we might call lowercase life, which is our physical, temporary journey here on Earth that lasts maybe a few decades,
Right.
and uppercase life, which is our eternal spiritual existence.
Wait, so earthly life is just?
It's just a process. It's a short trip. It is definitively not the ultimate goal of our existence.
That sets the stage for everything else. Because the author points out that we arrive on this earth with absolutely nothing. And when we leave, we can't take even a piece of leaf with us.
Exactly, not a single leaf.
So everything we go through is just an experience. The text even explicitly says that it doesn't matter if we are winning or failing because, and this is a quote, all space directions are void.
Which is a really powerful way to frame it. The essay insists that since earthly life is basically like a dream, the goal shouldn't be hoarding wealth or, avoiding failure.
Right.
The goal is to fully experience it, to live it to the absolute utmost so that you have zero regrets when it's time to leave the earth.
It honestly reminds me of playing a massive, immersive role-playing video game. Like,
Yeah.
you spend hours and hours in this virtual world, you hoard all this gold, you collect rare items.
You build a fortress.
Yeah, build a huge fortress. But the moment you turn the console off, you don't get to keep the loot. It stays in the game.
Right. The loot doesn't transfer to the real world.
So if you know you can't take the loot with you, why would you play it safe? Why not explore the edges of the map? Why not take massive risks? But I do have to push back here for a second.
Go ahead.
If I'm reading this and I see the author saying that success and failure ultimately don't matter, isn't that just a recipe for total apathy? Like, if nothing matters, why do anything at all?
You'd think so, right? Like, why not just sit on the couch and wait for the game to end?
Exactly.
But what's fascinating here is how aggressively the text rejects that exact interpretation. You might expect a philosophy of detachment to lead to a passive, Zen-like stillness.
Yeah, that's usually how these things go.
But the author actively despises that.
Yeah.
The text uses incredibly strong language, telling us to despise cowardice, despise laziness, despise pessimism.
Wow. Despise.
Yes, and despise a negative lifestyle where nothing is accomplished. So this detachment from earthly outcomes isn't supposed to make you apathetic. It's supposed to spark a fierce, untamed rebellion.
A fierce rebellion. That sounds great in theory, but usually a rebellion implies fighting a specific enemy. So if we aren't supposed to care about earthly outcomes, who or what are we actually rebelling against?
We're rebelling against the bondage of other people's thinking power.
Oh, wow. The bondage of other people's thinking.
Yeah, the text urges us to break free from conventional wisdom and the crushing weight of societal expectations. It demands that we have the courage to walk paths that nobody has ever walked before.
That sounds exhausting, honestly.
It is. It explicitly tells us to break new paths in jungles or the wilderness, even if doing so leaves us completely black and blue.
Black and blue. I appreciate that the text doesn't sugarcoat the experience.
Not at all.
It acknowledges that forging your own path is going to hurt physically and emotionally. You're going to wander, you're going to get lost, you're going to take some heavy hits.
Definitely.
But the author argues that only by living this way, taking the hits and keeping moving, does your life become truly valuable.
Right. And this leads to the author's highly specific definition of true optimism. Because optimism, in this framework, isn't just a cheerful disposition or a blind hope that things will work out.
So what is it then?
It's a relentless driving force. The text states that as long as you are still breathing, you absolutely cannot give up hope.
Right.
Even in the very last minute of your life, you should still be climbing toward the highest peak of life and uppercase life.
That is intense.
It is. You view every setback, every failure, and every bruise not as a reason to stop, but as a valuable data point in your grand earthly experience.
But okay, wait. If I'm hacking my way through a literal or metaphorical jungle, taking hits, and aggressively ignoring conventional thinking, I'm probably doing it by myself.
That's the assumption.
Because the image of the fierce rebel is inherently solitary, right? Does the author really expect you to just be this lone wanderer hacking through the wilderness without anyone else?
Well, the philosophy actually pivots incredibly hard on this exact point.
Oh, it does.
Yeah. The greatest life is absolutely not lived in isolation. In fact, the greatest life is strictly defined as serving the whole of humanity.
Wait, really? Serving humanity?
Yes. It's about bringing brightness, hope, and happiness to others.
That feels like a massive paradox to me.
How so?
Well, you are instructed to fiercely rebel against the thinking of the masses, but your ultimate life goal is to dedicate yourself to serving them.
Ah, right. I see what you mean. But to navigate that paradox, you need a very specific type of community around you.
Okay.
The author issues a mandate to find like-minded people. You must find the people who operate on the same vibration frequencies as you.
Same vibration frequencies.
Yes. The text states plainly that a journey with company is vastly superior to traveling alone.
Huh.
It even goes so far as to claim that the happiness of one person isn't even real happiness. Only group happiness is real happiness.
Let's pause on that phrase, same vibration frequencies, because, I don't know, that can sound a bit mystical.
It definitely can, yeah.
But mechanistically, I read that as a deep structural resonance of core values. It's not just about liking the same movies or working in the same industry.
It goes way deeper than that.
Because if you're constantly having to translate your worldview for people who fundamentally do not get it, you just exhaust yourself.
You really do. And the text has a striking warning about what happens if you fail to find this specific tribe.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
It says that having good teachers and friends isn't just a nice bonus for a well-rounded life. If you do not have them, the author warns that your life will inevitably become miserable, boring, dull.
And won't it end up as a literal lament? I think that's the word used.
Yes, a lament, an expression of deep grief or sorrow. It's a stark, uncompromising warning.
That is super bleak.
It is. But the text argues that the more beautiful your soul is, the more good teachers and friends you will naturally attract into your orbit.
But here's the catch, right? You can't just walk into a room and demand to find people on your vibration frequency.
No, definitely not.
People sniff out inauthenticity instantly. If you're masking who you really are just to fit in, or like hiding your true beliefs to avoid conflict, you will never attract this authentic tribe.
And the text aggressively tackles that problem by demanding a lifestyle of radical transparency.
Okay.
The specific phrase used in the translation is that we must be as pure as jade.
Pure as jade, meaning innocent, open, and completely above board.
Precisely.
And the specifics of what that looks like in practice are incredibly challenging.
Yeah.
The text says we must walk our talk, so our internal landscape matches our external actions perfectly.
Right. No intrigues, no conspiracies, absolutely nothing furtive.
But the mandate that really stopped me in my tracks is that it says we must love clearly, but we must also hate openly.
That's a really tough one to swallow.
Right. Hating openly goes against everything modern society teaches us about politeness and maintaining the peace.
Which is exactly why this raises an important question about how we usually navigate civil society. We're taught to be polite, to suppress our negative feelings, to smile even when we are deeply angry.
Totally.
But this text argues that hiding your true feelings, even the negative ones like hatred, is a form of deceit. It's furtive.
I mean, think about it like running a dozen background apps on a smartphone.
That's a great analogy.
Right. Every time you smile at someone you actually despise, or every time you hide a true intention or tell a little white lie to keep the peace, you open another background app.
And it drains your mental battery.
Exactly. Eventually, your cognitive load is so maxed out, managing all these hidden truths, that you have zero processing power left to actually break those new paths in the wilderness we talked about earlier.
Your system just crashes.
Yeah, completely crashes.
And the author describes that system crash in incredibly vivid, almost terrifying imagery.
What do they say?
The text equates doing things furtively to literally selling your uppercase life to a monster.
Selling it to a monster.
Oh. Yeah. It says these dirty, hidden things create a psychological stain that prevents you from being able to stand up straight. You can't have a clear mind.
Because of the guilt, I guess, or the weight of the secrets.
Right. And ultimately, you'll end up achieving nothing because you're carrying that hidden burden.
But conversely, if you shut down all those hidden apps, if you are genuinely pure as jade, the text says you are never afraid of ghosts knock the door at midnight.
Yes, the translation is a bit clunky there, but the meaning is perfectly clear. If you have absolutely nothing hidden, a knock at the door in the dark doesn't terrify you.
Right. You aren't worried that your lies have caught up with you or that a secret is about to be exposed.
Exactly.
Which means this radical transparency isn't just a moral imperative about being a quote-unquote good person. It's actually an energy conservation strategy.
That's a really sharp way to look at it.
If you have nothing hidden, all your mental energy is freed up. And we are going to need all of that freed up energy because we have a massive task ahead of us.
We certainly do.
Because now we're moving from earthly behavioral advice into the actual metaphysics of this text. So what does this all mean? Where's this roadmap actually taking us?
Well, if we connect this energy conservation to the bigger picture, we enter the core metaphysical framework of the essay.
Okay, lay it on me.
The author asserts that the entire universe consists of three fundamental elements: consciousness, structure, and energy.
Consciousness, structure, and energy.
Got it. And these three elements operate in a very specific, unbreakable chain reaction. Perfecting our consciousness builds a perfect life structure.
Okay, wait, I need to stop you there and ask for some clarity on that mechanism.
Sure.
How does a thought or, a consciousness actually build a structure? In the physical world, I can't just think a house into existence.
Right.
So what is the mechanism the author is describing here?
Think of it like a piece of software code generating a highly specific magnetic field. In this philosophy, consciousness isn't just a fleeting, random thought. It's the fundamental operating system of your uppercase life.
Oh, I see.
By living fearlessly, serving humanity, and being completely transparent, you're writing flawless code.
So that code, that perfected consciousness, creates an invisible scaffolding, a structure.
Exactly. And in this framework, the universe is inherently responsive. A flawless structure naturally magnetizes and attracts high-frequency cosmic energy.
Okay, so it's not magic. It's more like tuning a complex radio.
Yes, great comparison.
If I perfect the internal receiver, my consciousness, I naturally pick up a completely different higher frequency station.
You got it.
And with that specific cosmic energy, the text says we're able to extend our uppercase life out of this temporary earthly existence and into unlimited time and space.
That's the ultimate goal.
And the author provides three very specific dials we can turn to tune that receiver right.
Yes, the essay breaks down three distinct expressions of this perfected consciousness. First, it says that when we follow our original nature, we become Buddha.
Okay, original nature.
Second, when we practice love by loving others exactly the same as we love ourselves, we become God. And third, when we walk following the Tao, we become celestial.
Let's debate what these three paths actually look like in daily practice. Because what does following original nature mean on a random Tuesday afternoon?
It's a fair question.
Are we talking about basic animal instincts like eating when hungry, or is it something deeper?
It is significantly deeper than base instincts. It requires stripping away all the societal conditioning we talked about earlier, the bondage of other people's thinking.
Right.
Following your original nature means acting in total alignment with your uncorrupted, authentic self before the world told you who you were supposed to be.
So it's intuition untainted by ego.
Precisely.
Which circles right back to the necessity of being pure as jade.
It's all connected.
Now, the second path is practicing love by loving others exactly the same as we love ourselves, which makes us God. That is a staggeringly high bar.
It really is.
I mean, loving a complete stranger, or even an enemy, exactly as much as I love myself.
It demands radical, unconditional empathy. It requires dissolving the boundary between the self and the other.
That sounds almost impossible.
Well, when you truly view someone else's joy and suffering as completely indistinguishable from your own, You transcend basic human ego and self-preservation.
Ah, so that's why the text elevates that specific state of consciousness to a divine level.
Exactly. It's not a human state anymore.
And the third path, walking following the Tao makes us celestial.
Right. The Tao translates roughly to the way, or the fundamental flow of the universe.
Okay.
To walk following the Tao means recognizing the natural rhythms of existence and moving in harmony with them rather than fighting against them.
Like flowing with it.
Yeah, it's about effortless action. Imagine trying to swim upstream against a raging river versus floating with the current. Walking the Tao is letting the current do the work.
Okay, so we're tuning our consciousness receiver through uncorrupted authenticity, radical empathy, and flowing effortlessly with the universe.
That's a great summary.
And doing this unlocks the ultimate pursuit mentioned in the text, creating the Lifechanyuan era for humanity and extending our uppercase life into realms like the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, and the Elysium world.
Right. Wait, I have to interrupt again and ask for an explanation here. Elysium world. 1,000-year world.
It gets pretty out there.
Are we talking about a literal afterlife here?
Yeah.
Are these different physical dimensions in outer space, or is this a metaphor for an elevated state of mind while we're still alive on Earth?
The text actually presents these as literal higher dimensional realms of existence within the universe.
Oh, literal realms. Okay.
Yeah. In this framework, the universe is deeply stratified. Earth is basically a lower level, highly temporary training environment.
So we're just here to learn.
Pretty much. When your uppercase life, your spiritual essence, graduates from Earth by perfecting its consciousness, it moves to these higher realms where existence lasts significantly longer and is free from the heavy suffering of earthly life.
That sounds amazing. And what about the Lifechanyuan era? The Lifechanyuan era is the collective effort to bring some of that elevated, harmonious state down to our current reality on Earth before we graduate.
Here's where it gets really interesting, which brings us to the ultimate psychological tool the author gives us to handle our time in this temporary training environment.
Yes, this is a brilliant concept.
It's a directive given near the end of the text. After telling us to overcome worldly thoughts, the author tells us to plan our life with a span of 100,000 years.
Expanding your time horizon to that degree is just a fantastic cognitive tool.
It really is.
Even if you approach it from a purely secular standpoint, when you force yourself to operate on a 100,000-year timeline, the friction of daily earthly life completely transforms.
It completely neutralizes our petty, immediate anxiety.
Exactly.
I mean, think about it realistically. If you are stressing over a slightly embarrassing email you sent, or a social faux pas, or a financial setback, you are trapped in the immediate.
You're sweating the small stuff.
Yeah. But if you genuinely internalize the belief that your uppercase life is on a 100,000-year journey toward an Elysium world, a bad Tuesday at the office is less than a microscopic rounding error.
It's nothing.
It frees you from the paralysis of immediate outcomes.
And the text explicitly warns that focusing on temporary gains and losses will make us lose our direction entirely.
Right. We lose sight of the big picture.
By zooming out to a cosmic scale, you stop clinging to the leaves you cannot take with you. You focus entirely on the eternal work.
Which is?
Raising awareness, perfecting your consciousness, and devoting your limited earthly time to unlimited creation.
Because the stakes of earthly failure are literally zero, but the stakes for your uppercase life's consciousness are infinite.
Beautifully said.
And that brings us full circle back to the very beginning. The reason you can treat earthly life as this fearless, risk-free playground where you are totally willing to get black and blue is precisely because you know this is just a temporary training ground.
The author's promise is that if you adopt this massive framework, if you give up selfish interests, embrace radical transparency, find your true vibration tribe, and view your struggles as necessary steps on a cosmic journey well, you will be able to stride confidently across rivers and climb over mountains to reach your ideal shore.
Wow.
And when you look back on your earthly existence, you will be able to say, as the text concludes, my life has no regrets at all.
No regrets at all. What an incredible, uncompromising standard to strive for.
It truly is.
We have covered a massive amount of philosophical ground today, moving from the idea of earthly life as a temporary, fearless experience where we can't take a single leaf with us, to the absolute necessity of a rebellious spirit.
It covered a lot.
We did. We explored the vital importance of serving humanity and finding those true same vibration connections so we do not end up a lament. We unpacked the heavy cognitive load of hiding secrets and the liberating energy-saving power of being pure as jade.
Yes, energy conservation.
And finally, We follow the chain reaction from perfected consciousness to building a structure to attracting cosmic energy, all the way to the massive scale of a 100,000-year plan.
It is a deeply challenging text. It demands radical honesty and boundless optimism, but it offers a vision of human potential and cosmic progression that is genuinely limitless.
And that leaves us with one final thought for you to chew on as you go about the rest of your day. We started by imagining your current stressors through the lens of a massive cosmic timeline.
Right.
So, building on the author's directive to plan your life with the span of 100,000 years, ask yourself this. What is one immediate worry, fear, or grudge you're holding on to tightly today that would instantly become entirely too insignificant to carry into tomorrow if you truly internalized that you have an eternity to live?
That's a great question to leave on.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and we'll see you next time.